Okay, so for this week's episode of the podcast Believed, so overall, it was kind of like uncomfortable hearing again on what he would do. It's just like in general, it's just uncomfortable hearing what kind of doctor he was. Um, as a doctor, like a person thinks like you're there to help, not abuse them. In this situation, he abused like so many women and like young girls, and it's crazy. But I found it interesting on how I'm trying to put this in like words. It was crazy how like he tried to outsmart them and like the detective, like by like sounding professional and like sending them like so many PowerPoints again, like he would do. But I think this one thing he mentioned that I found and like stood out to me was that he said that the accusers were caused of like them being sexual assaulted in the past, and like this touching made them triggered this uncomfortableness. And I found that interesting because it's like, how are you just gonna assume that someone has been assaulted in the past and you're making them feel uncomfortable? Maybe in general you're just doing things that makes them uncomfortable. And another thing that stood out to me is that when the school was getting sued, MSU, Michigan State, and they like settled for like $500 million. There was about like 500 people that were abused by Larry, and it's so crazy because they could have stopped this abuse sooner. It's just crazy, like 500 people. It's like probably not even half of them. But yeah, after he had put on leave, he was allowed to come back. Michigan State let him come back with conditions. And hear me out. These conditions they put him, he was already originally supposed to be doing like as a doctor, like so like some things they made him do is follow basic medical guidelines, like wear gloves. First of all, you're already supposed to be wearing gloves, like what? Get consent, have a chaperone, which for like all these you should be doing, like before touching someone, like, okay, can I touch you? Because when I go to the doctors, they've always asked me like, okay, I'm gonna do this and that, do you give me permission to touch you? I just feel like all these should have been done like before, like as a doctor. But the thing that stood out to me is that no one at MSU like followed up with him and checked in, which more girls were probably getting abused, and I found this really crazy. But yeah, those were my thoughts.